yeah, it is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. 6 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEP-1-2, the phone number, toll free from anywhere. Jim is so excited about flying to Chicago. A sexy liberal.
Because there's a measles outbreak in 13 states, including Illinois.
You're vaccinated.
Yay!
You're vaccinated.
Okay.
You're fine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Lindsay is our official 9-month-old pregnant lady of the Stephanie Miller Show.
Oh.
Blaine. She's the one that hopefully we're going to have a live birth at the show. Because last year we had a, what did we have? Oh, we had a proposal, a marriage proposal. Thank God she said yes. That would have been awkward and embarrassing.
Yeah.
Steph and the Mooks, this is Lindsay from Chicago, your official 9-month pregnant lady of the Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour. I'm happy to report, as of my doctor appointment yesterday, I'm doing an excellent job of shutting the labor down. Shut her down. And my doctor thinks I will make it through the weekend and be able to attend your much-anticipated show tomorrow night. Of course, a lot can change in 48 hours, but I'm a firm believer in the power of mind over matter. Hold your water, Missy. We need an event.
What if she gives birth right in the middle of Carlos's monologue about his daughter?
Lindsay, do it.
That's when you want to cross your legs.
Right? If you can time it. Of course, a lot can change, blah, 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 because I gambled Vegas style, bought tickets to your show. I've informed this child he's not allowed to appear until Sunday. Of course, one Sunday's here, I'll happily allow him to arrive and then sit home on maternity leave each morning and listen to your entire show, of which I normally can only hear 45 minutes on my commute to work. Good idea. Can't wait to laugh my large Santa Claus-style baby ass off with you Saturday night. And yes, I booked aisle seats in case I have to make a speedy exit to the bathroom or into labor. Safe travel seems Saturday. Yikes. Yikes, yikes. Well, there's another thing that can make a woman lose control.
John Fugelsang.
Oh, dear God. Maybe touching John's hair will make the magical event happen. Good morning, John Fugelsang.
Good morning. It's a good thing I'm already planning on bringing forceps to this show tomorrow night.
Good.
You better bring 5 steps. Just
Put some water on the boil, just in case.
I love your... By the way, I'm a Twitter queen now, John. I was tweeting like crazy yesterday, all by myself.
It's fun, right? It's totally addictive, and it's a great way to meet other adults who haven't mastered that tricky your thing yet.
I loved your tweet yesterday. I like when two men who oppose gay marriage go rug shopping together, and it's this horrible picture of Ted Cruz and Mike Lee with a tiger rug.
And you know Marcus Bachman took the shot. I mean, come on. Can you believe it? An endangered species, and they want to show it off. And the worst part about that picture, and I know all your listeners saw it because they're incredibly smart and sexy, the worst part about these guys posing with an endangered species rug that they bought together and are showing off is that it will not hurt them at all come Election Day with their base. That's the depressing part. That's what sane, decent Americans are up against, folks.
Now Cruz's office is saying it was a joke. As you know, most Republicans claim when they get caught.
Joking. God, give it such a humor.
They went rug shopping together? Okay. I heard they cornered and shot that rug all on their own.
You did not, John Fugelsang. Now, listen, I was saying proof once again that God is a sexy liberal. We have been given this comedy gift right before the big show, the Clive and Bundy stuff. Where do you even start? We have just from yesterday.
Criticizing black handouts. You built this, Hannity.
Yeah. Oh, my God. But, I mean, I don't know if you saw him all over, including the CNN yesterday. It's just, clarifying his comments, John. Clarifying.
When Alex Jones thinks you're crazy, it's time to pack in your Zoloft.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. By the way, he went on Alex Jones to say, no, I didn't say that. Better off being slaves. It's like, oh, well, there's video. Oh, well.
That wasn't me. That was Bob and Clunby.
Imagine something on Alex Jones' show not being correct.
Right.
That was a shock to me.
I know, my tinfoil hat just fell right off. You know, it's fantastic, but this is what happens over and over again, and Sean Hannity, again, gets credit for this. This whole story is really about Megyn Kelly. I blame her for all of this. I really do, because Megyn Kelly took Sean Hannity's time slot. Hannity's staff is all sending her resumes. She's the star at Fox. Hannity knows he's on the way out. And Sean really thought he was going to make his bones off this guy and turn this guy into a big celebrity. And so what's been happening? When was the last time the entire media spent a whole week, including Daily Show, talking about Sean Hannity? And now it's blown up in his face. But look at this guy in his love fest with criminal Oliver North and murderer George Zimmerman. Sean Hannity loves lawlessness when it suits his own individual demented id. And so it's really not a big surprise, but it really is fun to watch it blow up and watch these guys run away from their patriot hero.
Don't forget friend of the show, Ted Nugent, who's said various things that you can imagine anyone said those things about Bush and Cheney, things that are Secret Service worthy.
Oh yeah, he's already been visited by the FBI for his comments.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Well, let's see. Just for those of you that just tuned in, this would be one of the clarifications that Cliven Bundy gave on a radio show?
That's exactly what I said. I said I'm wondering if they're better off under government subsidy, and their young women are having abortions, and their young men are in jail, and their older women and their children are sitting out on the cement porch without nothing to do. I'm wondering, are they happier now under this government subsidy system than they were when they were slaves and they was able to have their family structure together and the chickens and the garden and people had something to do? And so, in my mind, I'm wondering, are they better off being slaves in that sense, or better off being slaves to the United States government
slaves
in the sense
chickens.
of subsidy?
Right.
I'm wondering. That's what the statement was right. I am wondering.
Yeah, see, that was the real tragedy, John, is that it was like a Folgers commercials. We took away their gardens and chickens and replaced it with cement. You see what we did? Let's watch the fun.
Incredible. I'm terrified of another tsunami because he's digging a hole right now to Japan, and there will be plate tectonics being disturbed by this.
Right.
It was great. Let's leave out the fact that more Caucasians are on food stamps than African Americans, and just say I want to thank Cliven Bundy for finally giving credit to the slave owners of the South for doing all they could to keep those slave families together.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the film 12 Years a Slave, but the biggest concern the slave holders have is making sure that families don't get split up so they can be healthy, happy slave families.
Right, and tend their gardens and their chicken flock. Okay, then let's.
This is like you know this guy. This guy is so evil. You know he watches Roots, chuckling softly.
Deb in San Diego, you're on with John. Hello, Deb.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
Nice to finally chat with you.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had a question, and I love the brilliant John Fugel thing, by the way. He's just so dreamy.
Right.
God bless your deeply low standards. Good morning.
Oh, hey, listen, you're the bomb. But anyway, I'm just wondering, does Mr. Bundy collect Social Security and Medicare?
Huh. One wonders.
Yeah, good question.
He hates the government so much. So
I'd rather wonder about farm subsidies he collects, or tax rebates he collects, or his farm. I want to know just how deep of a welfare queen this guy is. And by the way, if he hates the federal government so much, I think I said this last week, he really needs to stop sending his cows to the slaughterhouse on those socialist interstate highway systems.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, you guys have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you. Look, you make women giggly, John.
Oh, stop it now. I make women giggly, but not for the right reasons.
I was saying. I
make women giggly because they feel sorry for me, and they do that to cut the awkwardness. And,
of course. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I was saying I'm the girl in class that's the girls pass notes to. Could you give this to John? Could you tell John to call me? That's what doing Sex with Oprah was like. Just saying.
Oh, I know.
Okay. Let's go to Ken in Great Falls. You're on with John. Hello, Ken.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. My mom's family was ranchers, and there's three ways you can graze your cattle. It's on private land, on state land, or on federal land.
Mm-hmm.
One rate for leasing private land is over $20 an animal unit month.
Mm-hmm.
About 16 in Nevada, sir. 16 something in Nevada.
Yeah, and state land's up there around 10, and the federal is $1.35. Been that way since about 1970.
Well, that's a real bargain we were giving him that he didn't even see fit to pay.
Socialist government giveaway. Boy, what a handout this guy is dependent on.
Well, and the biggest ranch in Montana, over 300 acres, half of it is grazed, is owned by the Koch brothers.
Aha.
There are over 7,000 cattle here, and they pay $1.35 for that. I mean, it's a huge subsidy, higher than any rent subsidy that anyone pays for an apartment.
But that's the point, is that he won't even pay that.
Right.
I mean, he thinks he has a right not to even pay that. I mean, it's incredible.
He won't pay that because he thinks the land belongs to him because of his ancestors from the 1800s. So I got a couple of Mexicans and Indians I want to bring by this guy's place.
Yeah.
We need to talk.
Exactly. Let's take one more here. Howard in Texas, you're on with John. Hi, Howard.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I think that the progressives need to start switching this Bundy thing Bundy's not running for anything. You know, and we're talking about a very important election year. And how is what he is saying any different than what Newt Gingrich said in the campaign, in the presidential campaign, when he talked about putting little Negroes...
Or Mitt Romney with his 47% comments.
Or Rand Paul. Think Rand Paul. That's the relevant angle.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, in other words, this needs to be utilized in a way that brings, brings voting, the voting situation into a perspective here where people start, this is the base. This is the base of the party.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
They're running away from this guy, but they're running away from their own issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe I should send Cliven Bundy some, I don't know, Sherry's Berries or Proflowers or something, John, and thank him.
Something.
Well,
thank you for mobilizing the black vote.
I actually wound up having a disagreement with our mutual friend Ed Schultz on his show last week, Steppers, because, he was agreeing with Harry Reid that these guys are terrorists. And my whole point is, I wouldn't call them terrorists because what they're doing doesn't have any political end. It really doesn't. It's just rank selfishness. It's that rank selfishness that has permeated America, that whatever I want, I should get. Once upon a time, we called it manifest destiny. Then we called it American exceptionalism. It's really just whatever. I can do what I want. Yep. And when you call these guys terrorists, even if they are, when you call them terrorists, that's a rallying cry for the base to rally around them.
No, I think you're right.
Them. And I would use the right's own language against them. Don't call them terrorists. That makes them happy. Call them welfare deadbeats.
Yep.
That's what they are. They are moochers ripping off the system, and we went from Joe the plumber to Cliven the moocher. Use their own language against them because the hypocrisy will wake some of them up.
We'll play that clip again when we come back on CNN. Well, you're just a welfare queen in a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. John Fugel saying you're smart and pretty and funny, and I like you.
Oh, shucks, thank you. We're going to have a really fun show tomorrow night in Chicago.
I know it. 18 minutes after the hour. Speaking of which, that's right, tomorrow night, kids. Yeah. SexyLiberal.com, Sexy Liberal on Facebook.
Saturday, April 26th, the Stephanie Miller Sexy Liberal Comedy Tour is making its return to the Chicago Theater. Yeah. So get your tickets now, folks, because these bitches be crazy. Like cray-cray. There's my lady Stephanie with her bronze ass, and Carlos Rocky, John Fugelsang, and Jim Ward, and boy toy Chris Lavoie. Yeah. Don't stop. Don't stop what? Can't stop. Can't stop what? Oh my gosh, you might want to get that checked out. Yikes.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely and talented Kate and Audra, everybody. And then don't forget Albuquerque, May 10th, and Minneapolis, June 7th. Go get all them tickets. Get it. But the big one tomorrow night, get those last tickets. John Fugelsang remains with us for a Fugelsanging Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Let's open it.
You know you want
it.
Take it. Take it. 19 minutes after the hour. Right back on the Stephanie Miller Show. It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. 24 minutes after the hour. Fridays with Sexy Liberal John Fugelsang. So you just posted a picture of the marquee at the Chicago Theater.
Yeah, it has sexy Liberal on it. And
on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and someone commented, is that in Chicago?
No, es el Teatro de Chicago en Veracruz, Mexico.
Wow.
When was the War of 1812?
Yeah, I know. What do you do with that?
Zoink.
That's probably like one of the most famous marquees in the entire world.
Zoink.
Yeah.
Okay. See, we just wanted to make fun of idiots that are not from the South.
Right.
How long was the 30 Years' War?
Okay. All right. That's when I used to work at the concession stand at the Palace Theater in high school, and people would ask, how big is the large popcorn? How much is the dollar soda? Okay.
Well, how big is the large popcorn is a valid question.
I suppose.
But is it like giant kernels as big as your head, or is it the actual container we're talking about?
Let's see. Rich in Arlington Heights coming tomorrow says, Steph, our dogs Basil, Baxter, and Buster. Oh, they're so handsome.
Or is it Basil?
Really enjoy the Fred and Max show on Free Speech TV. They don't really understand politics. As you can see, they were rather disappointed when they told them they couldn't go to Sexy Liberal, and Max and Fred were not going to be there. Hope you guys have a better trip than last time, whether you fly United, Screaming Baby, Bi-Curious, or Transvaginal Airlines. Thank you. Thank you is. All right. John Fugelsang, as we keep saying, the comedy gods have given us Cliven Bundy. And, I don't know if you heard the other story this morning. What's his name? I can't keep track of. Fraser Glenn Miller, Glenn Fraser Jr.
Fraser Benny Goodman.
Somebody, Glenn Campbell.
The guy who shot up the Jewish center.
Yes.
In Kansas
He was arrested in the 80s.
Yeah.
With a black male prostitute.
Uh-huh.
That was a Fugelsang giggle. That was just...
I mean,
it's Fraser Eddie Murphy.
It was the 70s he was arrested, right?
The 80s.
80s.
The 80s. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So he'd be in his 40s then. So that's a good midlife crisis thing. We've all been there, guys.
Yeah. Well, so who hasn't been arrested?
Well,
in
in fairness, this black male prostitute wasn't a Jew, so he's being consistent.
That's my point. Okay. Bobby in Oregon, you're on with John.
You just have to imagine the other Klansmen, like in their robes, turning to Fraser Glenn Miller and saying, "You're not very good at this, are you?"
Hi, Bobby.
Stephen Gang. Hey, John. Hey, I just have a question for you about this Ukraine thing. There's like an opposite view. Tom Hartman's had a couple of Ukrainian analysts on lately who are saying that what's going on is actually the opposite of the way the media is portraying it, because the United States and Europe have pushed NATO further than we agreed we would, and that Putin is just reacting to what we're doing, that he didn't actually start it. What is your view on this opinion?
I'm glad you're asking comedians this question. That's
I
a
was
good
just
move,
going to
first of
say,
all.
wow.
You made the right choice.
You came to the wrong place for that. What do you mean we started it? He took Crimea back.
I mean, you know, speaking as a very serious non-expert on this, there is ample evidence that Putin really look. Yeltsin handpicked Putin to replace him, and that's because Yeltsin apparently had a deal with Putin that he could never be prosecuted for the corruption of his presidency. Okay, and that was Putin's promise. Putin promised Yeltsin a happy drunken retirement if he got the job. Yeltsin didn't do a very good job because what Putin really wants is to bring back the USSR, and he's going to try and take over all these bloc nations. No one's talking about how he invaded Georgia in 2008 and President Bush did nothing.
Yes, and President Bush couldn't have been more manly. He had no manhood problem at all, as we know.
Yeah, I still believe that the anti-Semitic pamphlets, I like to believe that John Brennan placed all those there when he was in Kiev last week, and that's a CIA plot to discredit Putin with the world Jewish community, because that's the smartest thing they could do right now. If Putin, I don't think he wants World War III. I think he wants a new Russian empire, and he's not going to call it a Soviet Union. He's going to call it a super big, supersized Russia. Yeah, and I think Jim is right. That was more of a hangover than I had this morning, and went, what the hell did I tweet last night?
Yeah, exactly.
Who did I make? Who did I disappoint?
You can thank Boris Yeltsin for all of this.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We continue our very Fugelsang Friday, 29 minutes after the hour, 1-800-STEPH-12, the phone number, right back on the Stephanie Miller Show.
Stimulates the eyes of young children and creates a fondness for bright colors and loud patterns. And before you know it, little Jimmy is a homosexual.
It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. Fridays with sexy liberal John Fugelsang. And Louis Black, speaking of brilliant comedians, on Monday on the Big Show.
That's right.
All right, 1-800-STEPH-12, the phone number. John, the greatest thing is watching people dance back from, their support of Cliven Bundy. Here's one that Kevin Williamson of the National Review, he stood firm. Did you hear about this? He wrote a column last week likening Bundy's intentional violation of the law to Gandhi.
Of course.
As you do, and his stand against colonial.
I've seen Cliven Bundy. That brother's not going on any hunger strikes, trust me.
When confronted with Bundy's Negro remarks, Williamson stood firm, noting that Gandhi had, quote, thoroughly creepy views on race as well. But we remember him for other reasons.
Gandhi's views on race?
I don't know what he said. People turn out to be complicated and unpredictable, he added, after noting Gandhi's lamentable views on homosexuality.
Yeah, sometimes they're simple and very predictable.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's take Rick in Toledo. You're on with John. Hi, Rick.
Hi, good morning. How are you today?
Good, go ahead.
Hey, listen, just two comments real quick. It's too bad that the Cliven Bundy thing has gotten to the point where it is, and then him making racist remarks, I think, has really just turned hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people against him. And I understand that he owes the grazing fees. Okay, it's $1 million. Why isn't anything being said about the $3 billion in back taxes owed by government employees? And then the other gentleman, I can't remember his name, said that asked the gentleman in Texas to prove it about BLM. taking property in Texas. 2 of the landowners with deeds in hand were on TV last night explaining what was going on, and the one lady said, they're going to have to drag me off of here screaming.
Right. So, Rick Perry is bitching about this. It's an entirely separate issue than Clive and Bundy.
Yeah,
don't you think?
It has nothing to do with the Bundy episode.
No, I understand that, but here again, it's BLM. BLM's involved. They're the common denominator here. They're wanting to take 90,000 acres. Don't know where, you got computers right there. Look it up. 90,000 acres between Oklahoma and Texas on the Red River in 1934.
And what do you think it's going to be used for, by the way?
I'm sorry?
What do you think it's going to be used for?
Well,
fracking.
The property owner said you can't grow anything on it. Most of it is sand. You can't build on it because
they're going to frack it, my friend. They're going to frack it.
Yep.
They're going to frack it?
Yep.
Is that?
Yep. And the Democrats and the Republicans are going to work together to frack the hell out of it.
Yeah, by the way, John, I don't know if you saw, I don't know where this was, the first fracking lawsuit. This family won $3 million. I hope that has some effect on all this, because it's a horrible story. I mean, they definitively prove that, I mean, that fracking caused all these health problems.
Groundwater and...
Yeah, quite a bit. And, next time you have your tap catching on fire, just tell the kids, if they ask, what's that, Daddy? Well, that's the government getting off big businesses' back.
That's right.
Exactly. Your tap water's supposed to light on fire.
And listen, I mean, you don't have to like fracking, but it's the way it's going to be. I mean, we are going to be fracking the hell out of all of this country. If you want to invest somewhere, invest in North Dakota, because it's booming. There's towns up in North Dakota with one intersection with a traffic light that are now just backed up. Everyone's moving there. You can go and drive a truck and make 6 figures in North Dakota right now. It is the new gold rush of northwestern fracking. So whether we like it or not, that's the way it's going to be. Right. And the struggle for liberals isn't to ban fracking. Sorry, Redford, it's going to happen. The struggle for liberals is to get it regulated, to get it safe, and to get the science right on what the long-term effects of it are on our environment and on, the ground itself. It's just speeding up earthquakes.
And by the way, this issue in Texas along the Red River with BLM, this was settled by the courts in 1986. Why it's coming up now, no idea.
Right. It's because
after an executive order by who?
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, there you go.
Trying to remember who was president in 19... Okay.
By the way, speaking of investments, Chris and Yankton said, I think you guys ought to pitch a new show to Fox News called And Another Thing with Clive and Bundy. Thank you. We know all the money we can get. I don't, I don't need to have principles anymore. Let's go to Jamie in Chatsworth. You're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hi, Jamie.
Hello, Stephanie and everybody. It's really good to talk to you.
Thank you.
I'll go quick because Travis has never let me on before.
Don't disappoint him. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going to. Just don't cut me off, Stephanie. This will be quick.
Okay.
I just wanted you to know that this whole issue, in regard to the whole thing with the Keystone Pipeline, it's the same exact subject. Those farmers are conservatives. They're Republicans. They are standing with the Democrats. What they have done is that 75 miles that's not permitted, it is now those people have discovered there is an international law that would allow these companies, corporate companies, to come in and take our land by eminent domain. And that's the issue on the Keystone Pipeline, and that's what brought those conservative landowners that are in the Nebraska area right to the forefront, saying,
well, it's
right together, but this is about eminent domain. It shouldn't be allowed that other countries can come into the United States and through eminent domain take our land.
Jamie, you did real good. Good girl. Travis, nicely done, sir. No, it's, but John, it's the not in my backyard thing, right?
Of course.
I mean, people are like, they're all for the, all the rhetoric on the pipeline, but they're like, it's going through my backyard?
Well, and that's a good example of what Keystone really is. Just imagine that, all these countries are apartments, and Canada has cable, and China doesn't have cable. So Canada decides to hook China up and give them free cable from their cable, but they're going to run the cable through your apartment, and it's going to leak oil and kill people.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, by the way, speaking of Rick Perry, one of our comedy binkies in the last round of Sexy Liberal. He said he needs more preparation, John, on foreign policy and economics before pretty much everything that would, that would qualify you to be, president.
You don't say.
Oops.
I don't understand. He bought his glasses at the same fake prescription shop Jenny McCarthy recommended to me. He looks so smart now.
He says he'll need more preparation if he runs for president again. Yeah. Really? Aww.
He ran commercials about all the great business jobs he's opened up in Texas for Carl's Jr. fry cooks. I don't understand what could hold him back.
He says he learned a lot when he ran last time, so that's good. He says he recommends...
Don't be stoned when you go to debates.
Right. Right, he says whether he runs for president or not, preparation on foreign policy, economics, and other issues will serve him well. Oh, I see. Now a warning. Maybe I should have studied some issues.
Now a warning?
Rick Perry and Oscar Pistorius, two guys who will not be running in the fall of 2016.
Oh, John Louise Fugelsang. Someone else that will not be running, Chris Christie. New Jersey Governor Christie says he would have stopped those aides from blocking the George Washington Bridge if he had known about the plan.
Oh, he would have gone there himself.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
I am outraged.
He should have stopped himself from saying it was a traffic study at a press conference when every reporter there already knew it wasn't a traffic study.
Yeah, that was like, by the way, the most bold of all the bold excuses I have ever heard.
Study.
It was a terrific study.
And you know how
Ted Cruz should have called the government shutdown a government study.
Yeah. You know how Chris Christie will not let marijuana become legal in New Jersey as long as he's governor because it kills people? Greg Gutfeld, I have to give it to him, on the 5 yesterday said, you know what kills more people than marijuana? Obesity.
Yep.
Ooh. Oh.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
You know,
I think Chris Christie's just afraid of New Jersey citizens getting the munchies.
I was just going to say, there's some Cliven Bundy free grass marijuana joke for tomorrow night. John, work on that. Work on it.
Yeah, workshop it.
It's a little doughy right now. We'll come up with something.
It's another losing deal for Republicans, and it's a losing deal for Barack Obama as well. Medical marijuana is polling much higher than the president. I think someone in the White House should take a look at that.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, everybody. It's Art in Chicago. Hi, Art.
Boy.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, listen. 2 things. About 3. I could hold a bunch of them, but I'm going to start with the price of beef. Now, I've been in the meat business.
You're in the meat business?
5 years. The price of beef has gone up 50%.
Wait, Art, are you a butcher? I did not know this.
Oh, yeah. I'm a meat cutter. I belong to the Amalgamated Meat Cutters Union.
Oh, good for you.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
The price of beef has 50%. By next week, it'll be double.
Uh-huh.
Now, you're going to have to start raising more cattle. You see, down in Argentina, they've got a pampas that we wanted to get beef from there for a long time. We're going to start getting it from there because that's the only place there's big grazing. The number 1. Number 2, the price of steaks are up to $10 a pound, and the oxtails are $4.99 a pound. When I started
Listen, I enjoy this butcher talk, but how does this relate to Cliven Bundy?
What's that?
How does this relate to Cliven Bundy?
Well, where are you going to get the beef from if you can't raise them on private land?
You can raise them on government land. You can raise them on public land as long as you pay your grazing fees.
So sheep are gone too, by the way. And another thing, price of gasoline is $4 a pound. How is Obama helping the middle class when he puts the price of beef 50% higher? Gallon of gasoline in Chicago is $4.40 a gallon. Now you tell me how he's helping up the middle class. Number 2.
Does anyone else feel weird about J.J. Abrams directing Star Wars Episode 7? As long as we're talking about things that have nothing to do with the actual story, can I talk about Star Wars for a while?
I'm talking about the middle-class people. They're starting, and you know what?
You're talking about cattle rates, sir.
Right.
Cliven Bundy's cattle don't feed the entire country.
Right.
Where do you think cattle comes from?
From mama cattle.
All right, I'm coming to Chicago tomorrow. Where do you butcher? I might come get some oxtails or something.
Well, I've been retired for 20 years.
That's too bad.
Oxtails are $5 a pound.
Okay.
Now let me tell you one other thing. Boy. Gasoline is $4.40 a gallon. Okay.
It's about that much here too, Art.
I believe it is marijuana.
What?
I think marijuana should be.
You want to smoke a doob?
You know why? I'd like to see marijuana legalized.
Why?
Because we are suffering. And that's going to put a clink in our suffering.
I agree with you.
Art,
wow.
Right before the sexy right before the sexy liberal show tomorrow night, I'll meet you out front of the Chicago Theater. We'll both smoke a doob. How's that?
Yes, it'll put me out of my misery.
Love him.
Who's the caller? Who's on line 3? Why in Chicago it's parked by Crack Key.
I love
him so much. That was just John, like a tennis ball machine full of different topics that had nothing to do with anything.
I don't understand what I just experienced, but I know I'll never get the time back.
That was Art in Chicago.
We don't know what happened.
You know
there.
that gasoline is made from oxtails now?
Look at
By
that.
Cracky?
Hey, Cracky. All right, wow. All right, one more segment of Fridays with Bugles. Let's shake that off, everybody. Run it off. Whew. Right back on the Stephanie Miller Show.
You see, this is from Chicago.
I get it, because we're going to Chicago. Sexy liberal John Fugelsang for Fridays with Fugelsang. Yeah, it is tomorrow night, kids. Get those tickets now. I don't even know if there's any VIP left, but go quickly. Go to Sexy Liberal Facebook, sexyliberal.com.
That's right.
And don't forget, Albuquerque coming up May 10th, and then Minneapolis June 7th. But tomorrow, the big show, John, at Chicago Theater. First time Carlos El Rocky will be hitting the stage of the Chicago Theater with us, and Chris Lavoie and Jim Ward.
Yep.
Your masters of ceremony. We are so excited.
And for the first 100 Chicagoans who call, we will have Rahm Emanuel personally berate you at your home.
Thank you, John. All right, 51 minutes after the hour, we are in the midst of a Fridays with Fugelsang. By the way, speaking of comedians, did you hear this Joan Rivers controversy, John?
Yes, she made a joke about something edgy and it upset people who know comedy.
Right. She says she will not apologize to Amanda Berry and Gina De Jesus for remarks she made on the Today Show. She shocked the show's host when she compared the girls' captivity in Ariel Castro's home to living in her daughter's guest room. She was talking. She said those women in the basement in Cleveland had more space. She was talking about.
Wow.
She said, "There's nothing to apologize for. It's a joke. It's what I do. Calm down. Calm down. I'm a comedian. They're free. Let's move on."
That's how I always felt in your New York studio, Stephanie. I'd go in there and it would be like, if the Anne Frank family had seen it, they'd say, "Is there anything bigger?"
Oh, my God. Look what you just did that to give Joan Rivers cover. That was worse. You're right.
You know what? It's a tasteless joke, and it's a often tasteless First Amendment.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to live with the consequences of your acts. So if you don't like what Joan Rivers says, boycott her.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of tasteless, John Hamm would like you to please stop talking about his penis. If you do a Google search for John Hamm penis, you'll know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
He would prefer it if people would stop Googling that.
Well,
now probably a million more people just Googled it. Just as I said, don't do it.
He needs to start wearing underwear so that it doesn't swing back and forth inside his pants.
He says it he wears it. He says, would you want people walking up to you and pointing at your...
Maybe, yeah.
Every time I do a show with John Fugelsang, it's hard to miss.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, John, holy moly.
Get some tighty whities.
He said, I can't believe I'm still talking about this. I've worn underwear every day of my life, and the fact that I'm painted as this exhibitionist is a little annoying. They're called privates for a reason. I'm wearing pants for sake. Lay off.
Wow, I know exactly how he feels whenever I'm around you, Steph. Will you guys please stop talking about my penis, okay?
Please.
I want the entire media to know, please don't devote any more attention to my large, swinging, visible through my trousers penis.
He said there are harder jobs.
Don't even think about it.
He said there are harder jobs in the world, but when people feel the freedom to create Tumblr accounts about I feel like that wasn't part of the deal. Yours doesn't have a Tumblr account yet, but you know what? I can change that after Chicago Sexy Liberal. Now that I'm on the Twitter, you never know what's going to pop up, so to speak.
Wow. Don't talk about it. Don't even look at it. This here, don't look at it. Don't talk about
Move on. Can I put a pop-up ad on a picture on Twitter for John Fugelsang? No, Chris? All right, I'm just asking.
John Hamm's kind of brilliant telling you not to talk about that.
By the way, speaking of sexy liberal men, George Clooney, did you hear this story?
Yes, I did.
I love this story. George Clooney's business partner says the actor was not pounding shots before his blowout with casino mogul Steve Wynn. By the way, is there any casino mogul that is not a douche, just out of curiosity?
I don't think so.
He tells TMZ, we were not drunk. Clooney and Wynn locked horns at a fancy dinner in Vegas after Wynn called Obama a pole, and Clooney shot back, calling Wynn the pole, and then stormed out. Wynn claims things exploded because Clooney was slamming tequila, but Randy Gerber, who was at the dinner, said no shots were had. He said this wasn't about politics, it was about George standing up for his friend. Thank you.
I don't understand why Clooney would call him names and not just try to get specific about topics and issues.
But,
Obama has not made Steve Wynn's life any tougher.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that it's, whether it's this Clive Bundy stuff and the blatant racial stuff that has happened during the Obama presidency, it's that, John. It's that level of the people think it's okay to just call the president a
hole.
Well, they thought the same thing under Bush as well, but Bush kind of had earned it a bit more than this guy.
Yeah.
This is a guy, Steve Wynn, who if Sinatra was alive, he'd come back and smack him in front of a casino floor again. But because he used to get Sinatra's coffee if you grew up watching the commercials for the Sands. But I do think that this is a guy who gets his money off of tourists and old ladies bringing their pension checks to his casinos and pumping it into the nickel slots. So if he wants to go ahead and attack the president's character, I kind of wish Clooney had tried to engage him on the issues rather than just calling names back and forth.
As Michael Douglas said in The American President, this job is entirely about character.
And sand.
And sand. And also sand. All right, you know what? There's been so much focus on Cliven Bundy's thoughts on the Negro. Let's talk about a different person of color. John Boner said yesterday that changes brought about by the Affordable Care Act make it impossible to... now a warning, it's impossible to repeal the health care law. Really? After 50, how many tries?
Now a warning?
He also mocked members of his own Republican Congress for not wanting to address immigration and not the Tea Party. He's starting to lose it.
What a quitter.
The American people.
Boner, he did an impersonation, Jim, for the Republican refusal to take on the issue. Here's the attitude. Oh, don't make me do this. Oh, this is too hard. Is he mocking other people for crying? Is that what he's...
I think he is. Oh, wow.
Damn you, John Boehner. It's always sad to see a teabagger choke.
He said we get elected to make choices, we get elected to solve problems. It's remarkable to me how many of my colleagues just don't want to. They'll take the path of least resistance. Oh, just now? Just now he's noticed that his caucus is a bunch of doofuses.
The path of least resistance is not having a health care plan, so the president makes your old plan the law, and you just vote to repeal it instead of coming up with one.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, speaking of breaking news.
If things any more passive than Sonny Von Bulow.
Some breaking news in entertainment. Tom Brokaw.
It's Tom Brokaw, formerly of NBC Nightly News. George Stephanopoulos is sticking with Good Morning America. The anchor has signed a new long-term deal to remain with the ABC Morning Show and the Sunday Political Affairs Show this week, an ABC News spokesperson confirmed. The details of the deal weren't disclosed, but Stephanopoulos is earning around $8 million a year for his previous contract. His reopening follows new deals for Robin Roberts and Laura Spencer, who was recently promoted to co-anchor and keeps some stability at GMA following the recent departures of Sam Champion and Josh Elliott.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, my tongue.
Okay, thank you, Tom, for that breaking news. All right. John, people saying you are on what television shows today?
I'll be on. I'm doing a panel discussion on comedy writing in New York, but I'll be on Hardball with Chris Matthews on Monday and the Ed Schultz Show on Tuesday, and I'll be with Stephanie Miller all over her on stage tomorrow night at the Chicago. And I hope everyone in the Midwest comes down to see us. Watch my Facebook and Twitter. There might be a special announcement later on today about tickets.
What? John Fugel saying. See you tomorrow, honey.
See ya.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
See you Monday on the Stephanie Miller Show.